Ladies and gentlemen, please notice that exits are conveniently located at the front and rear of this auditorium. When leaving the theater, we suggest that the exit at the front of the auditorium will allow you easier access to the parking areas. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Mike Field.
I'm Mike Butler.
And welcome to Forgotten Cinema Now Showing. Each episode, we highlight a brand new release. We'll discuss what we love about the movie or perhaps don't love about it, but don't take our word for it. Go see the movie for yourself. It's a forward finger for you. Mike, how are you?
I'm doing pretty good. You know, I tried to get off planet from the mining planet I was stuck on, but it turns out my 12,000 hours isn't good enough. It's now 24,000 hours now. I'm pretty sure it's a scam, but I don't want black lung.
Honestly,
so I'm gonna take myself and my broken android brother up into an abandoned Weyland-Yutani space station where nothing's gonna go wrong. Steal some cryopods and blast off to a planet that is apparently not part of the Weyland-Yutani Corporation, and hope that they just take in refugees, I guess. But I'm sure there'll be trouble along the way.
What's the name of the planet? Yavaga?
Yeah, Yavaga.
Yeah. So, yes, we are talking about Alien Romulus. So now, the reason why I'm pausing is because I was like, wait a minute, I need to talk about the lead-up series. So for those who don't know, we have a Patreon. Patreon.com/Forgotten Cinema. And for when we do some of these new release films, we do like we call it the lead up, which is we do the older movies leading up to the new movie. And for some stupid reason, Mike and I decided, hey, let's do the Alien franchise, not realizing it's 8 movies.
Technically now 6, but we still watched the non-canon Alien.
We
movies.
counted the Aliens vs. Predator. So we watched Aliens, Alien 3, Alien Resurrection, Alien vs. Predator, Alien vs. Predator Requiem, Prometheus, and Alien Covenant.
I'm proud of you. You got through it.
I know. All those episodes are available on Patreon if you're interested for a small price. And so we did those. And it was all leading up to this film, which, you know, Mike and I have already been talking about this movie since we watched it last night, and kind of talking about, and we'll talk about how it relates to the other films. All right. So where would you like to start with Alien Romulus? Do you want to start with what? What do you want? How do you want to do this? Because, you know, this isn't like we've already talked about the other Alien films, but a lot of these people that are watching this or listening to this probably have not heard our stuff already about the Patreon stuff. So
I guess let's go with let's start with, I guess, a quick recap of our thoughts on Alien and what our rankings were prior to Romulus and stuff like that.
Oh, shoot. Do I even remember my ranking? I got to write this down.
It's pretty easy. They ain't complicated.
All right, go ahead, Mike.
All right.
Real quick, tell me your Alien ranking.
I think Field just the rankings? All right. It goes Aliens.
Quick, and then go into the movie.
Alien, Aliens, Prometheus, 3 very close. Then I would go Resurrection, AVP, Alien 3, Covenant, and then
Requiem.
All the way, thrown away in the bottom.
I'm there with you a little bit. I'm probably flip-flopping a couple here and there, but yes, I think I'm
flip-flop 3 and AVP or something like that.
Yeah, I can't give AVP. I can't put that above Alien. Anyways, Alien 3.
Alien 3.
Yeah. Okay, so yeah, we're pretty much on par there. Obviously, I think that changes a little bit now with this film, which we can kind of update towards the end. Mike kind of gave you an idea of what this film's about. And before we get into this, we're going to spoil it. So if you haven't seen the movie, don't listen to us.
Oh, yeah. This is not a film review. This is a film discussion. So, yeah.
Save this. Honestly, save this. Go watch the film. Come back to the episode. We monitor all the stuff. You want to comment. Even if it's 2 months from now, I will reply. So that's all cool. But I don't want this. We don't want to spoil anything for you. But if you don't care, well, here we go. We're going to spoil it. Okay. This film takes place between Alien and Aliens. That's the time frame, correct?
Correct. I think 23 years or I think 20 something years. Yeah. After Alien.
So Alien is 2122. Alien Romulus is 2142. So 20 years in the beyond Alien. And Aliens is 2179. So about 50-ish, a little less than 50 years, 47 years, right? 37 years, excuse me, until Aliens. So it's in between there. And in terms of like what, I don't know, what the Weyland-Yutani Corporation knows or whatever. Well, I guess we can get into that. But anyway, so that's when this film takes place. So, and this film, as Mike talks about, this deals with, well, shit, I don't even know where to go, man. I can't find a jumping off point here. Go ahead.
So those are our thoughts on the Alien movies. We ranked them lead up ended. Those are our thoughts. I think Field and I really have a connection to the first two Alien films because how they played with horror, how they played with characters, the sets design, all that kind of stuff is, I think, what we mostly liked in terms of the original stories. I think Aliens obviously adds the depth of all the characters are great as well.
Alien and Aliens are peak genre for their genres, are peak horror and peak action during that time. Right. So I think that's the best way to describe it.
But I think, if you're coming here, expecting alien love, like we respect them, we love them. We both grew up with the first two. But I think both Field and I have an appreciation for Prometheus, which I think kind of gets a bad rap with a lot of people because it's not really an alien film. It just kind of takes place within the world. And I think one of the things I liked in this film, this new film, is the ability to give us an aliens kind of hybrid film while still not just ignoring and just bypassing Prometheus, and in a major way, I guess, because of just how the story went, Alien Covenant as well. They're not necessarily leaving that story by the wayside. And I think that's important. I think that was really cool to see. And I don't know, what are your thoughts on that before we get into like the thoughts of the movie? Like, just, do they do a good job at tying what has come before, minus Alien vs. Predator, obviously, what has come before up to now, at least on the timeline? Do you think that they did a good job at that?
I think you can't, in terms of referencing Prometheus in the scene when they go to the lab in Romulus on the Romulus side of the ship. I don't think, I think I need a little bit more of an explanation from Rook, because he kind of gives it. He talks about the Prometheus file, but honestly, that would add more to the movie. So I don't think I'm ready for a 2.5 hour film. You know what I mean? So I think they did what they could. I honestly don't. I understand why people say this is a mix between Alien and Aliens, the first two films, but I really think it leans more towards Aliens, the James Cameron film, with the action. I don't think there's a lot of there's scares. I mean, it's
tense. I don't know if it's scary, tense, but it's tense, right?
The only scene that I can sit here and tell you that feels like Alien is the scene when they raise the temperature of the room so that they can walk through and the facehuggers won't feel them, won't sense them. That was a tense horror type scene. Everything else, I could, was somewhat Aliens, and that's fine. I'm fine with that. That's not a knock. I thought it more kind of represented the second film a little bit better, or a little bit more, not better, a little bit more than Alien. I mean, Alien's such a unique horror film, and it almost an indie with the budget that it had. I mean, obviously there's a major connection to Alien, which we'll get into with the character that shows up. But I felt like this was lean more towards Aliens, like 70-30 or 60-40 or however you want to say it, than it did Alien.
Sure.
But I think I didn't, with the exception of some of the lines of dialogue that were put in there, the callback lines, I was like, some of those were like, okay, yeah, whatever. I wasn't like big on those, but it didn't make me hate the film or anything like that. I think the action stuff and the callbacks and the little things here and there were cool. I definitely think it fits the universe. It feels like an Alien film. I think, I always remember, and I don't know if you remember this, but there were some pieces of the score from Aliens in this, right? Did you hear some of that?
Yeah. So they do a couple things. They do, obviously, when Rooker talks about Prometheus, the Prometheus score comes up. Yeah. At one point,
which, not to cut you off, Mike,
right?
In our Patreon, when we talked about it, I never realized how recognizable the Prometheus score was until we watched the movie again, and then we heard it again in Covenant. You know what I mean? So I thought that hearing it was like, oh, there it is. I never kind of rewatching these films have made me attuned now to the Prometheus score. So I thought that was cool too. Go ahead.
Well, now that you say that, it's almost become like David's. It's almost become like David's theme. Like that's the theme of the black goo or the parasite that or the disease that made the alien. So I think that's cool that's now become
the organic starter of life. Yeah.
Yeah.
What the engineers created.
Yeah. That David perfected.
Yeah.
So I think that was cool.
You know what, Mike? Hold up. I want to tell you this. I'm on Twitter. I'm not going to call it X. I'm on Twitter and someone posts, I refuse to think that I kind of think that the Xenomorphs existed before David, that they were just out there. David didn't make them. So someone posted that, number one. And number two, someone was like, so does anyone talk about how the engineers did they just discover this black goo? Like, and all of a sudden it's like, did you watch Prometheus? Did you like pay attention during the scenes?
We talk in our lead up. I don't think either of us are big fans of David having made the Xenomorphs.
No,
like it kind of takes away the mystery. But he did. It's done. It's over.
And
he made the Xenomorphs.
Yeah.
It's established by the guy who helped create Alien. Right. So it's done. But yeah, the Prometheus score plays in that moment. Obviously, in a couple of moments, the score from the first Alien pops up, and then they play a hint of the Alien score a couple of times, but not as much as the Alien and Prometheus score.
Yeah. Yeah. So some of the score stuff was a cool callback. But yeah, no, I thought it blended well. Like I said, it feels like an Alien film, probably feels more like an Alien franchise film than Alien Resurrection. You know what I mean? Like Alien Resurrection is like a 90s film more than it feels like an Aliens film.
Yes, it feels like a 90s comic book, like a pulpy comic book version of Alien.
Yeah. Yeah. Yep. 100%.
This one definitely feels more like you said, Aliens, and Alien. I would say Alien, like Alien 3 as well, because I think Alien 3 has a lot of problems, but still kind of feels like an Alien film in terms of the sets, the look, the dreariness,
all Alien films,
the lack of hope,
gross. Yeah, no one. Yeah, dirty and gross. Which is funny because not funny, but which is interesting because I think I made the comment in Covenant. Nobody ever gets out of an Alien film unscathed. Like it's just everyone has the crappiest of luck. Even like, in the end of Prometheus, when Shaw escapes away and you're like, oh, Shaw's going to see the engineers. Oh, and then you find out what happens to her in Covenant. It's just like, the stuff at the end of the beginning of Alien 3, when you find out what happened to Hicks and Newt, and you're just kind of like, oh, that kind of sucked that ending out. So even like here, I imagine if there's another movie that they do that kind of goes off of Alien Romulus, that, our Rain is clearly something's going to probably happen to her at some point. So, you can't really leave an Alien film with the hope that the lead or whoever's involved in it is going to really come back and is really going to have a happy life where they're going. You know what I mean? You can't really have any kind of hope because you've already been burned 8 times.
It'll catch up. It'll catch up to them in the end. Yeah.
Right. Exactly.
I mean, speaking about Rain, then I guess it's let's save the special character for last.
We already said it, but yeah, let's save
Brooke for last, but we'll get into the characters.
Let's get into the characters. And where do you want to start? You want to start with Rain and Andy?
Yeah, let's start with Rain and Andy because they're obviously our primaries. And I think they're the ones that we have more to talk about.
So Andy, played by David, I think Jonsson. Andy's the synthetic in this film. And he is the adoptive brother or whatever, just kind of like of Rain. They're alone on this planet, on this gross planet that has no sunlight. So Andy is a malfunctioning synthetic, and it's meant to be as a metaphor for a physically challenged person, somebody or a mentally challenged person who has issues. He's not functioning. He can't. I wouldn't say he's very simple because he is a synthetic and he's smart, but they play him off like he doesn't get human nature or he doesn't understand.
It's like he has high functioning autism a little bit.
Right. Okay. That's like a good thing. Yeah.
Fully connect with a human the way like Bishop can.
Right.
Or like, even though Ash was evil, like Ash can. but
Yeah.
he's there. He still cares for Rain. I mean, that's his directive to take care of Rain, but he cares for her. He tells jokes. He wants to connect. He just
tells jokes because the
just
father rebuilt him and programmed him with dad jokes.
all the jokes. Yeah.
Right. And right off the bat, I think he was the character that Mike and I both liked the most and like the best. Like we were like,
Oh yeah.
Because it was different, it was new, and the actor was doing a fantastic job. I mean, I think he was the biggest bright spot of all the actors. I know that Cailee Spaeny is the lead, and I get that, and she's an up and comer, and I understand all that. But like to me, the actor played Andy, David Jonsson or Jonsson. I think I'm saying his name wrong.
I think it's Jonsson.
Was the highlight of him.
100%.
Yeah.
I think Aliens has a ton of great characters, including obviously Ripley's the best character. But like Bishop, like Ash is cool. He's an interesting bad guy, but Bishop was great. Call's pretty good. And then you got David, and David's just awesome. Michael Fassbender's David, and complex. Walter in the next one and David are complex. And now you've got Andy, who's awesome. Like going forward, I think in this franchise, it'd be stupid for an actor to not want to be the synthetic. I want to be the android, because that seems to be where the shining light is in a lot of these films now.
Well, that's always because that's an interesting character to play. You're playing somebody who's programmed, and it could go evil or you go either way, and you're programmed to follow directive, but yet you are struggling with the idea of emotion and all that stuff. So it's definitely a meatier part, excuse me, not more meaty. That's not even a word phrase. But other than that, Mike, everyone else, I'm just kind of like, all right.
Yeah. I mean, Rain's cool. Rain's okay. I think that most of what we get from Rain is her attachment to Andy. So she doesn't have that much of a personality. Her personality is dependent on Andy.
But it's to get off the planet.
Yeah, but she's not a dick. And everyone else are just varying degrees of dicks.
Yeah. And if it's designed so that we can be excited to see them get killed in some fashion from an alien or xenomorph, I guess mission accomplished.
Yeah, I guess in that case, like I never like watching people like that that I'm rooting for get got, but I think in a horror movie, you need that at least one or two kills where you're like, ah,
but that's what creates that tension, because you don't want characters to get killed.
Right. Well, I'm thinking like a Freddy or a Jason, you've always got, it's only like one or two that you care about that get killed. Mm-hmm. A lot of the other people are the jock or the bully or the goth kid that hasn't cared the entire time and is throwing like a cigarette or beer can at Jason, going like,
they go
whatever.
First though. Those people go first.
Yeah. Well, the jock doesn't always go first. Sometimes he goes toward the end.
Depends if he's a good jock. Depends if he's a nice guy.
But in this, they kill the biggest dick second. So like, I want to talk about,
okay.
What's his name? Bjorn.
Yeah.
Bjorn. Yeah. Yeah. He sucks. He sucks hard. And I know they give him like a backstory. They're like, well, because his parents had just died, which so did Rain's, because there was a mining accident and the gas leak, and the androids had to seal off the doors to save 12 people instead of 3. Mm-hmm. And it's like, that's why he's out against androids. But I'm sorry, even a human supervisor would have made that decision. And it was the right call. I get him being a little angry, but he's just unbelievably terrible to Andy. And everyone just lets him. Mm-hmm. Threaten him, poke him with the stick.
And his justification, as Mike says, it's really just a 2-line justification in the dialogue, and that's it. It's not like he doesn't have a blow up. He doesn't it's not some sit down story where it's quiet and he's talking about it. Like, he's not even sympathetic. Like, you can't even when I think it's Navarro that says it, that tells the story, right? Or Kay?
Yes. I think it's Navarro.
Navarro is the one that tells the story. And it's it's just kind of like tossed out there because this happened. We don't sit on it. So you can't even be sympathetic to Bjorn because he's just, it is what it is. Even when Andy saves him from falling in the hole, there's no hey, thanks, man. There's nothing like that.
Right. Yeah.
You know what I mean? So, and whether that was something that they didn't have time to do in the movie or whatever. It's just these things add up. These things add up to just there's definitely a place for characters like this in these movies, but you run the risk of creating characters that the people in the audience can't connect to and just don't care when they die. So it's not, so there's no, like you say, there's no emotion, there's no tension, there's no feeling. And you're just kind of like, all right, whatever. Like when Navarro gets the face hugger and then, we talk about the gestation cycle of the xenomorph inside. It changes from movie to movie. Yeah. Sometimes it's fast, sometimes it's slow. And,
she's instantaneous.
Right. Instantaneously, it's popped out. And then the other end of that, Mike, I want to talk about Kay a little bit, who is pregnant. You find out she's pregnant, but like she disappears for 15 minutes of the movie because she's sleeping.
Yeah, because she gets morning sickness and then she goes away. Right.
Right. And they don't really kind of go into her story a little bit. So now you have a character that's not even formed and it's just a body. And so who cares? You know what I mean? There's no connection because her brother's Tyler. He's the heartthrob that Rain likes. And there's really no there's nothing there. There's no connection with Tyler and her or with me and them. And like I would
we barely get any scenes. Yeah.
Right.
So two things do you think would help that? Which obviously this is going to make the movie a little longer, but I think for the sake of character building and the fact that most movies now are 2.5 and you're only probably going to add 10 minutes. At the beginning of the movie, we see Rain and Andy before the plan.
Yes.
Do you think it would have helped if we got a scene with not each character individually, but maybe the group minus Rain and Andy?
I will.
And their life on the planet.
I'll go back to let's go to Aliens. You meet all the Marines after they get out of cryo sleep. You meet all their characters. They're making fun of each other.
You drink, work. Yep.
Listen, I'm not looking for some serious deep moments. I'm looking for a character to make me laugh like Bill Paxton does in Aliens. Like you need that scene. And like, it's like, that's a lot. I think that's missed sometimes on a lot of writers that it's got to get to the stuff, got to get to the movie, and I get it. You're pressured to get it. You might be pressured to get it by the studio, get to there faster. I understand that, but like those are hills you need to fight on and you need to set up characters. I think like the scene with Andy and Rain when they're eating, I think that's a perfect scene to just have all of them there. Just do it. Let's meet them all in in this crappy cafeteria and give me a 10-minute scene so I can meet these people. And then give me the scene later on where they're at the ship and they're talking about what they're going to do. Like, I want to know about the going to the planet and getting the cryopods. Like, oh, we need cryopod stuff. I want to know that this is what we need in the first 10, 15 minutes of the movie so that 5-10 minutes later when hey, we found something. That's a better transition for me. I don't want to get all that information all at once because then you get into the movie and I can't catch up and I don't care about these characters when they start getting got.
All right. So then my alternate is if you don't have that and kind of what you just said about when Andy grabs Bjorn and stops him from falling in the hole. And he's like, thanks, man. And all of a sudden you spend the next 5 minutes of scenes with them where all of a sudden they're connecting and they're getting to know each other. And then all of a sudden you don't hate Bjorn as much. And you're like, oh, maybe the movie's going to be more about Andy and him connecting. And that's going to be a theme of the movie as well as forgiveness. And then Bjorn gets got. I think that would have made a stronger scene because then all of a sudden you're like, oh, wait, but I wanted to care about this dick now.
Listen, we need to slow it down a little bit and give us some of those scenes wherever they are. Not that I don't care about Navarro's character. My problem with her character is from the first trailer. Well, they show her shining the light behind her and she gives birth to the alien. So as soon as that face hugger scene started, I knew the only person that was going to get impregnated was Navarro. Well, the second trailer shows her getting hit in the face.
That's true too. Yep. The first one she's bursting, and the next one you see it. Yep.
I think this. I mean, and I think we've touched upon this topic within the main show with Forgotten Cinema. That sometimes the trailers, and especially now, they reveal way too much. And I'm not saying you can't show some stuff, but like don't show the stuff that's kind of crucial to kicking off the story. When the facehugger jumps out of the water, the first time you see the facehugger jumping out of the water at somebody, you showed that in the trailer. When Navarro gets hit in the face with the facehugger, you showed that in the trailer. You show a lot of stuff in the trailer. I'm surprised they didn't show the cameo in the trailer. You show so many things in the trailer that, like, I told Mike this while we were watching this movie. Let's jump to Deadpool and Wolverine. You show Johnny Storm in the trailer a week and a half after the movie comes out. There are still people that haven't seen the film. So you just blew. I mean, I get it. Hey man, everyone knows no, there are people out there that are actively not trying to discover the twist in that or the different little things they do. So
I was talking about the guest character in this, the cameo character in this. 3 days after we watched it on a Monday, and right before we got to the theater, there's an article that just shows the picture and says who he is. And I was like, honestly, it's exactly who I expected it to be. But I was still like, come on, man, give it 2 weeks before you spoil stuff.
Yeah. It's the stuff around there. But Mike, let's be honest. That's all designed to get people into the theater earlier because the studios make more money on a movie that releases when it initially releases, first couple weekends, right. And then it goes. That's why it's there, and I get it. It's part of the business. This is show business, not show. Whatever. It's so it's all the numbers game. So I respect it. I get it. Sometimes it stinks. That's all.
Other than Kay being pregnant, we don't know much about Kay.
No.
So I think we can switch over to what we thought of the guest character now. Rooker.
Right, so Rook or Rooker? Oh, that's Rook.
They call him Rook, but I think he says his name is Rooker. I think his full name is Rooker. I could be wrong. We could call him Rook just because they do call him that.
No, okay. It's Rook. So Rook is actually played by Daniel Betts, but his that's not the face you see. The face you see is that of the late great Ian Holm, who, as you know, in the Alien franchise played Ash, the first synthetic in the movie that kind of goes against Ripley and all that stuff. So you get the idea that this synthetic is I guess Ash would be probably the next gen from Rook. You know what I mean?
Well, Rook's probably the next gen from Ash.
Why? Oh, you're right. I'm sorry. So Rook is the next. You're right. So Rook is a next gen from Ash, and he's a science. So you see it's half of his body. They hook him up, and he just starts talking about he kind of starts giving you the expo about what happened at the location. And of course, obviously, if you know an Alien and you know the prime directive of Weyland-Yutani, you know that Rook is not necessarily a good guy, right? A good synthetic. Right off the bat, Mike and I turned to each other and we're like, that doesn't look like Ian Holm. Like it looked different.
There have been better deep fakes. What I don't get is like somebody at home right now in the next couple of weeks is going to put a clip on YouTube of Rook and it's going to look better than the movie. Because that's what they did with Luke Skywalker. That's what they've done with Tarkin. All of these, the deep fake things and the remaking the characters, fans on YouTube always tend to do it better.
Right. And that's neither here nor there. It's tough new technology. It's really hard to do. It's fun. My biggest surprise was with this is that he is a big part of this movie.
He's a major character. Yeah.
I didn't think that he was such a huge part of this film. I just was like, oh, okay. They have him for a hot second, then he's going to go, and then he just keeps coming back, and then he's basically the villain.
I thought he was going to turn off after he talks about the alien, and then
he's still going when the space station is crashing into the rings of rocks. So
he's the representative of the company. He's the yang to Andy's yin. Yeah, he's got a big part. And I honestly, other than the fact that he didn't look good, there are moments where he looks okay. I actually kind of liked it. I thought it made sense in terms of the film. Obviously, it's a familiar face, but obviously they reuse androids.
I think it's believable.
I mean, yeah. I mean, we can go into like the morals of it. I personally, as someone who is an aspiring somebody who. Well, I think we could go into that. Like, I personally, I'm fine with it. Like, if you get the permission from that person or that person's estate and they get paid, that's what an actor cares about. I think it's awesome that your legacy lives on past your past your life. I think James Earl Jones, just donated his voice and was like, yeah, you can use it for all Star Wars as long as you paid me. And he did all his voice stuff so they could synthesize it ad nauseum forever and ever if they want. I think it's cool to live forever. I think that's what most actors want. And I think it's the rabble on social media that are like, oh, it's wrong and disgusting. It's like, who doesn't want to live forever? I think that's awesome. So I'm okay with it.
I think if they make the decision, then that's their decision. It's not my place or anybody's place to pass judgment on them. It's not like they're not committing a war crime. They're right. Think of it as a retirement package for their loved ones, which at my day job, that's all I hear. So why wouldn't you? Why wouldn't you want something like that? And it's not like they asked. It's not like they asked his fifth cousin. They asked his wife. So it's not, his wife is in charge of his estate, of owns estate. So if anyone can make that decision, it is her. So, and that should be the end of the story. No one else should open their mouth about it.
And he's not playing obviously he's playing kind of a new character, but he's not really playing a new character.
It's not like they're
it's not taking somebody's job.
I mean, yeah, exactly. He's not selling, he's not selling vacuums like they had what's his face Fred Astaire do that one time in the commercial. And everyone's flipping out about that. Listen, they gave the permission. It is what it is. Move on. Who cares? And if it's I think my bigger issue would be if it didn't fit the story. It fit the story. So I'm good with it. It's fine. It makes sense. It makes sense for the story. It made sense in Star Wars. In Rogue One, when they connected with young Leia because she was getting the plans, it made sense in actually, was it Rogue One where they also used, where did they use
Rogue One uses Tarkin as well. Yeah,
it made sense there too. So if it makes sense, it makes sense, and I'm fine with it. Just move on.
I do think it was really cool the way they tied stuff in, because it's something I always thought about ever since the end of the first Alien, ever since I watched the first Alien. I wasn't born when it came out. When she leaves the alien in space, and I've always thought this about the Queen at the end of Aliens, like they're the perfect organism. I don't think they're dead. And this movie proves that. I don't know how it got made that cocoon it's in at the beginning. But I thought it was really awesome that that's what they used to start the whole project up again, is the alien had cocooned itself to live forever in the vacuum of space.
Was that what it was?
Yeah.
Was it a cocoon? Okay.
Yeah, it was some kind of rock cocoon thing. Or maybe it fused when the thrusters hit it.
Who knows?
But yeah. I thought that was really cool. And I thought it was cool to see it with the spear still through it that Ripley harpooned him. And I thought that was really neat.
They were saying that they thought it was dead, but it wasn't because it doesn't need oxygen. That was one of the things that Rook said. So this is what Mike's referring to is the alien from the first film is what they got, and then they guess they started 3D printing facehuggers, right? Like they're organically printing these things.
Yeah, they don't really explain that. Well, I would have liked an explanation with what.
I assume it's with the help of the Prometheus, the ooze, the black ooze. Like I assume that's all connected. The production line, all that stuff.
Yeah, because if it's David's ooze, it's already been created to make those eggs. Yeah.
Right. I mean, I was going to start going down a rabbit hole in terms of like aliens and how the ship gets there with the eggs, but whatever, we'll figure that out later.
Yeah, well, that's the one thing you still don't know from Alien Covenant to now is you still don't know how David put all of his eggs on an old engineer ship.
Well,
because when we leave, it's not a colony ship.
Well, you have to assume that he probably, right? Yeah. I don't know.
He almost certainly killed that colony.
I mean, I guess unless they're going to LV-247, 246, LV-246.
Unless he changes course, yeah. Their original planet was like an Earth-like planet, but yeah, they could have.
But the ship in Aliens is the engineer ship, and that's not what he's on.
Exactly, yeah. So at some point, he's got to get off that ship or destroy that colony and find an engineer ship to put all his stuff on.
Yeah, we probably need another movie. I don't think they're going to do it, but we probably need another movie.
Maybe they'll explain it in the next one when she inevitably brings the ooze inadvertently to another Weyland Yutani.
Yavaga, whatever. All right. So what did you think about the Xenomorphs themselves? Like that whole thing? Like
I thought they were awesome. I think they were, obviously they're animatronic for a lot of it. I think
I think they're CGI for a lot of them, especially the weightless scene.
But I mean,
I think they're guys in suits.
I know for a fact that they made full body animatronic guys.
The close-ups when their mouths open?
No, for like jumping and moving around. There's stuff that's it's on a whole gimbal.
You're talking about the Facehuggers or the Xenomorphs?
I'm talking Xenomorphs, baby. The whole big thing. There's like interviews where they show it being made, and Fede talking about how he was scared to put it close to the actors because it weighed like a lot. It was kind of like it was a big, dangerous robot on a huge crane. But I think they looked really good. I think that helps them look more alien. I think maybe they looked a little clean, which was weird.
Okay.
A little more buff, maybe.
Well, they're guys in suits.
Yeah, I really liked them. I thought they were cool. I thought it was nice to see aliens back. Even the ones that are clearly CG, like the zero-G stuff. I think this is the first time we got Xenomorphs that are CG that looked good, because I don't even like the look of the one in Covenant. I think he looks too much like a video game.
There was two of them. The one that's all white.
The main Xenomorph, not the Neomorph. Okay.
Yeah. Yep. I like the Neomorph in Covenant.
Oh, I think the Neomorph's a cool design as well. Yeah. But yeah, I liked them. Did you not like the Xenomorphs?
No, I just thought it was just different. I think they're all different within each movie. I mean, this is probably the first. I know they have the Xenomorph in Covenant, but this is really the first Alien film that actually has the original Xenomorph design. I mean, I know I always remember the ones from Aliens just in general, but yeah, no, I think, and there's a couple new things we got in this film. I think we talked about we talked about how that pod that's on the side of the
wall where he's
where it's birthed,
growing.
where it sheds its skin and then it wraps itself up and then it births itself. So there's that new thing that we've got.
Oh, cocoon's like a butterfly,
right?
I think that works toward what you see, because you always see them like hiving stuff up, and there's always slime. They always find slime before they find the alien. So that cocoon could be part of that slime.
I mean, I think I told you this when we watched it. I didn't understand, and maybe just because maybe it needed to be explained a little bit more. Like, there was one Xenomorph throughout the entire thing, the one that came out of Navarro, and then they go to the Romulus section of the ship, and then all of a sudden there's they've been all sitting there chilling, I guess, waiting for people to come. So then all of a sudden from one became 20, 25. And then you had so that was a quick jump for me. Then they did a lot more stuff in this film with the acid blood than the other movies. You know what I mean? Like, it was much more of a plot device than the acid blood was much more of a plot device, and the Facehuggers were much more of a set or plot device, especially the scene when we talked about where Andy tells them that the Facehuggers react to body temperature and any kind of stress or tension, and that's what they're attracted to, which is another new thing we learn in this film that we never knew really before, in terms of like how the Facehuggers can find you and kind of thing. You never really kind of
without eyeballs, that. Yeah,
right. So that's another new thing we learn. So I do appreciate, because in Alien films, there's 9 of them, obviously. So you kind of have touched upon a lot of stuff already. So if you can do stuff if you can kind of reveal new facts that you didn't before, it's a win, because there's a lot, because, you don't even need to show the chest bursting scene anymore, because we've seen them, and it's not really as, oh my God, I can't believe it, because what's coming.
Yeah.
Right. And then they kind of show it in this one, but they don't really, because they kind of cut away from it. And you're just like, okay, fine, I don't need to see it because I've seen it already.
Yeah.
So I know you liked the whole thing with the facehugger trying to get into the dude's mouth. Like when he,
I love that it grosses my fiance out. She's like, but it is gross. And it's gross when it comes out of Navarro and the whole tube comes out.
Right.
Like, I think the whole point of Aliens is supposed to be especially with H.R. Geiger's design, it was supposed to be body horror. That's the whole point of it. So the more they do that kind of stuff, I think the grosser and better it is. When the facehugger appears in the glass and it's facehugger, I don't know, junk is just writhing on the window trying to get to Rain. It's like, that's gross and icky, and that's part of Aliens, and I think you need that. But I think the stuff they do with the facehuggers is great because I love how violent they are in this movie.
Okay.
They're much more of a threat than I think in other movies. It's like quick cut. Oh, it's on this person. This is the first movie where it's really strangling Navarro, or, we talk about how the trailer kind of ruins it. But I mean, when it hits Navarro with that force, she goes all the way back. It's like, now you understand why facehuggers are, less of a nuisance and more of like an actual threat if you're actually stuck with one.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So give me your top three, or you don't have to do the top three, but top biggest pluses from this film. And then I'm going to obviously ask you for your biggest minuses.
Top three pluses are obviously... You don't have to
give me top three, whatever it is, however many you give me.
So I like Andy.
Yep.
I like the score.
Okay.
I like the aliens, and I like the practicality of the location. Like the actual, the world that they built felt real and lived in. And I'm sure some of it was probably green screen. I'm sure some of it was probably stagecraft, but a good portion of it is an actual set with actual props. And I love that. Okay. So I think those are pretty much, those are definitely my tops.
Okay. What's your bottoms? Come on, Mike. Come on.
Anybody that's not Rain and Andy.
Right. Character development.
Character development. I think they could have done a better job with the baby alien guy at the
we
end.
haven't even talked about the hybrid engineer face dude that birthed from
K.
Because speaking, so that's a big. Go ahead, give me your other minuses. Go ahead.
Okay. I guess the action bits could have been a little better. Like, they were cool, but I feel like they all came at once, and they all kind of revolved around 0G. It was the same shtick twice, because it was Rain and Andy backed up against the conveyor belt, and then she had to go through the acid rain thing, which was kind of meh. I wasn't a big fan of that. I do love her shooting the aliens and the plasma rifle kind of jerking its way around. I liked that. But then you get the elevator scene, and it was kind of the same thing.
Yeah.
And those are your really only two action beats. So I was kind of a little disappointed they didn't kind of switch it up and make it a little different. Like
I mean, they do have that scene where they're running in the hallway and the facehuggers are chasing them, but that's really a quick scene. It's not really like a huge set piece. So yeah.
Right. Those are my minuses. The characters, the action kind of wasn't very different. There's like maybe one long action set piece. And whatever else I said. The hybrid baby thing, I think could have been, I don't think they showed enough, and I think they kind of hid some stuff for no reason.
Is it better than hybrid baby from Alien Resurrection?
I don't know. They're both pretty gross designs. I like the design of both of them.
Right.
Both different. I tend toward Resurrection Baby a little bit more.
I think, you know what? And I think, what I think with that is that every time when the Resurrection Baby dies, you feel bad.
Yes.
And I think that we talk about that. Like, I mean, Ripley in that movie, and we talked about how she loves them, but hates them because she's part of them and she's not them. And she knows that she's killing her kid. And it's like, it's really, it's a quick moment, but it feels terrible because you just feel bad about what's happening. In this one, you're just kind of like, whatever.
Because in Resurrection, the hybrid baby isn't necessarily evil. Right. I mean, it kills the queen, but that's what it's genetically predisposed to do. Brad Dourif is up on the wall to be food for him. But then when he gets in the ship, he's just kind of sniffing things around. He doesn't really know what he's supposed to do.
Right, exactly.
And then it gets shot out the window and dies horribly, screaming like mama. And it's just like, ugh. But this baby, like right off the bat, is mad. It's mean, and it kills Kay. Like I think something we're missing, and maybe it would have made it NC-17. But we talk about how she starts oozing ooze from her breasts.
Yeah.
But then you skip to the baby coming to her, throwing out its weird tubular tongue, and you're like, oh, he's gonna milk her. And then we cut. The next thing we see, we can barely make out Kay's upper torso, and the monster's eating her, milking her. You don't know what it's doing. And I think either they had it and the studio was like, that's too far, cut that, or it's not going to be rated R. Or
but having the giant
Fede Alvarez and Ridley Scott were like, oh, that's too far. Oh yeah, but having the star-shaped vagina is fine.
But not even that. Having the giant cocoon pod that births the alien looking like a vagina, like that was okay. Like that was like clearly what that was. And you're like,
it's always got to look like a vagina.
but that's what I'm saying. Like that's no one's going to get that reference. That's all right to sit there regardless of that. I said this to you yesterday when we watched it and you were like, I'm gonna say it again. This isn't a negative, but it isn't a negative, but it's a statement of fact. I think a lot of this movie it stands on the shoulders of the first two. And you talk about the action scene, and why I'm bringing that up again is because you talk about the action scene in the elevator. That elevator is there because of aliens. That elevator is there, when she shuts the door and she comes out and the wind's blowing in her hair, like that's because of aliens. That's why that scene is in the movie. So it's hard for me to watch. I think there's so many movies have been made, so many stories have been told. So yes, it's hard. It's difficult to kind of come up with something new. The floating acid is new. But a lot of this movie pulls from the other two as callbacks, but also, they're essential in the movie in and of itself, that it's tough to say like that's Alien Romulus, because it's not. That's Alien Romulus, but it was aliens. Now, I can say that probably for any movie that's out now, that have, like any, you have the movie Avengers Endgame, that's main plot point was based on Back to the Future. So you can say that for anything. So it might not necessarily be fair for me to say that. And I get that. But it has to be said because it is a fact. It is, part of that movie. So that's all I just wanted to say. Cause you were talking about the elevator and I was like, I forgot. I wanted to bring up that, that's clearly an Aliens callback. But that was it.
So what are your tops and what are your bottoms?
Andy, I like Andy a lot. I think he's the best. I think he's the most interesting character in the movie. I mean, I like Rain, but I don't think Rain is. I don't put Rain. If you're gonna kind of start going through all the female protagonists in the Alien franchise, like Ripley and Shaw, I guess that's it, right? I guess I don't remember Catherine Waterston's character. Call, I guess, and what was Catherine Waterston's character? What was her name in Covenant? Do you remember?
Nope, but that's because she didn't matter. Her name was Daniels.
With the exception of Daniels from Covenant, because I think she mattered less, like you said.
Right.
I don't think Rain is really it fits that mold in terms of it's not on the upper end of the other, the protags in the Alien franchise. I just think she's just there. I was much more interested in Andy.
I think she's too dependent on Andy. Like she needed scenes. Like obviously they're separated when Andy's first inspecting the ship, but her focus is still on Andy. She never has the time to be herself or to shine in any other way than being Andy's sister.
Aside from the scene in the elevator when Andy comes to her rescue, there's never any other moment where Andy and Rain work together to survive. When Andy has the upgrade and he's basically when Rook has reprogrammed him and he, and then obviously he goes back to being Andy when he gets kicked and she resets him. Right. He ends up, they give him the disc for the science officer so that he can get into certain locations. And then that kind of upgrades him and restores his AI, which I don't understand why it didn't stick after they took it out. I mean, if he was already fixing himself, shouldn't he stay fixed?
I think he's fixed because he's not like his motor functions at least have fixed, but he's back to being himself.
I think it would have been nice to see him and Rain working together to, survive, not just, you know what I mean? Not just rain scene and shooting everybody. And then he has that one moment where he delivers the Ripley line, "Stay away from her, you bitch." I think that it would have been nice to see them like work together. So they kind of like would be two protagonists working together. We never really get that.
Yeah. So like if like the baby alien doesn't like put him out of commission.
Yeah.
Right from the get-go. Yeah. I agree.
They do that. Like it would have been nice.
They together, brother and sister.
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely. And and they had that moment at the end where she says like, "Change your directive to what's best for us." I thought that was nice. That's a really cool scene, cool moment. But I think that if it was them fighting the offspring at the end, I think that would have probably hit home a little bit better. So,
yes.
But I really like Andy. I agree with you. While it was cool with the gun scene and the shoot when she's got the rifle, the pulse rifle, and it's like aiming for her, I really wasn't. I mean, the acid blood stuff was fine. I really wasn't. It didn't blow me away. It was just a fine scene. The elevator scene was a fine. The action was just okay.
Right.
I did like when they were getting chased with the Facehuggers. I thought that was pretty cool. I thought the Facehugger stuff was good. I liked, even though we talked about Rook, I liked seeing him again and kind of like, you know, re-experiencing Ian Holm in any form. You know, I thought that was interesting, that tie-in. I actually like the effect of the space station crashing into the rings, although like it was such like a ticking clock. And this is because we watch movies all the time when they were like, 47 minutes. Like, okay, here we go. Like stuff like that.
Well, I remember you mentioned, damn, dude, we should have timed it in real time.
I think it was 47 because I think it was that way. It was tight like that.
That's cool.
But yeah, I mean, I think like the sets and the feel and the look, all that stuff works. It felt like an alien film. So those are all my positives. My negatives, I think I kind of talked about a little bit. We talked about the character development of everyone else. Honestly, Mike, I think either give me Alien or give me Aliens. Don't give me both. Give me one or the other. I mean, that's I think I would have choose a lane and I would have respected it a little bit more. Don't just give me a mix of everything because there's a different vibe when you walk into Alien and you sit down and watch that movie. It's a different vibe, the whole movie. And it's a slow creep on you and you're into it. You know what I mean? So that at the end of the movie, when Ripley, fights off the alien, you're with her. And with Aliens, it's like, it's balls to the wall action. You love it. You're invested in it. And you're like, I think it's two different types of movies that give me one or the other. I think maybe I'm just saying, like, I think I probably would have liked it better if it went one or two ways. Either give me full action or just give me the straight horror. And I don't know how you feel about that. I mean, yes, it's nice to have all the callbacks to the two films, but I think I just want one. Does that make sense?
I get what you're saying. I enjoyed that this tried to do the mix, and I think Fede Alvarez was probably the perfect director to do that because he did a great job in Evil Dead, and Don't Breathe is very good. I never saw Don't Breathe 2.
I don't know. I'm booing. You're not seeing it. Yeah. I know.
Like the horror aspect, I don't think is there anymore. I don't think you can be truly scary with aliens anymore because we know the Xenomorph.
It's fair.
I think the Facehugger stuff though, and the beginning alien stuff, it's tense, and I think that's great because I don't think a lot of people do tension well in horror movies anymore, unless that tension is just all right. Hit me with that jump scare. Hit me. I think it's harder to not just do like, oh, the jump scare is coming kind of tension, like just tension in terms of like, ooh, I know there was one, I can't remember what scene it was, but even you were like, I do that. I can't remember what it was.
It was,
but like that's it was like really intense.
Yeah.
And I think that stuff's great, but I don't think they did a great job. So I guess this could count as a negative.
Ooh.
Of switching gears over to that aliens.
Sure.
Kind of thing. It's just like up and the nest and there's all these aliens. I think it can be done. I think it came too late and it wasn't quite as good of a reveal. Like I know you have the aliens kind of crawling in the hive, but like a la the Alien 2 shot in the ceiling. Yeah. But you really need that alien. You would need that Alien 2 shot where all of a sudden they're like, oh, damn. And you see all 20, 30 aliens coming down and you realize the movie now shifts in tone and it never really does. It just kind of like, oh, and now there's other aliens. Like kind of like you said, like, I don't think story-wise, it makes sense. I get it. But I think tonally, the way they treated that shift wasn't really a shift. And I think that's where it kind of falters in terms of, give me horror, give me action. I do think you can do both with the Alien franchise. I just don't think they succeeded at giving you the best of both worlds.
I think it's a difference between a good movie and a great movie. I think when it's almost like having too many things at once. It's a good, it's a fun time. It's a good movie. It's a good Alien film. But is it a great film? No, because I feel like what makes it a good film limits it to putting it in a great status. And not that obviously a movie wants to aspire to be something great, but you're telling a story at the end of the day. And I do want to put this out there because we talk about movies all the time. Making movies is incredibly hard. Writing film is incredibly hard. So it's
especially the Alien movies, as we've talked about, like the way so many hands are in this pot. Right. Yeah.
And us talking about it like this is just kind of breaking it down. But make no mistake, it is an achievement and an accomplishment what is on screen. So, nobody is denying that, and nobody should ever deny that. I can't stand when people are like, that's garbage. It's like, man, you don't understand. I mean, I know sometimes we joke around, Mike, and but like when people like are actively think like everything, like someone will watch this film, someone will watch this movie and be like, that was a joke, and they'll just rip it. And it's like, dude, you have no idea what goes into making a film, and you shouldn't talk.
Alien Requiem is hot garbage. It's terrible, but it's still an accomplishment because if you gave scenes, if you gave me the script and a director's chair and you were like, make this as my first feature,
sure,
I guarantee you I'd have made something worse.
I always joke, and people are always when I always talk about films with people. This is back in the day, and people were like, "Oh, the movie's terrible." I was like, "Oh no, I didn't like that film at all," and they would be like, "Oh," and I go, "Whoa, don't get me wrong, I'll do Leprechaun 10. I will I may say like, oh, that's BS, and I may criticize the film, but like, if I got the opportunity to make a really bad, 12th installment of of a horror franchise, I'm doing it. It's like, yes, let's go. Like that's the thing.
Absolutely.
It's like, so I just want to put that out there because if people don't hear us and don't know us and don't listen to us talk on the main show, I feel like I need to kind of like reiterate the fact that, we fully respect what's going on.
Oh yeah. You've just got to place it in a pantheon, but it doesn't necessarily mean anything is like terrible. But like the thing that you're just like talking about, I completely agree with you. Like it's good, but not great because there are things holding it back. But if you asked me what I thought about it, I'd been like, it's great. It's fantastic. I really like this movie. But if you asked me to talk about it like a movie, I would say it's good, not great.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Totally. And I need to see it a couple more times. And I think that to truly know if you really like a film, really can't connect with a film, you need to see it more than once, more than twice, more than 3 times. I mean, I was talking to Mike about Mission Impossible.
Don't make me watch Dead Reckoning again.
I'm not making you watch Dead Reckoning, but I'm just saying, like, I just been rewatching a lot of stuff. I'm trying to rewatch a lot of stuff that I really like because I want to see if I really like it. But anyways, I have 2 questions for you, Mike, because we're getting long here. We're an hour. I guess, where do you slot this film, the ranking you did before? And I'll go first, so you don't have to go first. Where do you put this movie in the rest of the aliens that you already listed to us? I will tell you that I think this is either 3 or 4, depending upon my mood. Aliens, and then either Prometheus or Alien Romulus, but either one. And that says a lot about what is after what came all the other movies, more so than it says about this film. But that's where I kind of put it, 3 or 4, depending upon the day. Where would you put it?
I'm impressed that you would flip it with Prometheus because I felt like you also really like Prometheus. Maybe not as much as
Prometheus.
Me, but yeah. I would agree. I would think if I was like, I want to watch an Aliens movie, I would put Romulus in my Blu-ray player over Prometheus. But I think my ranking would just kind of slot everything down. It would still go Aliens, Prometheus, and then Romulus. But they are still top tier.
Yeah.
And I think then everything else falls. Yeah.
And I think you're right. I think let's be honest. The only reason Prometheus is an Aliens film is because of the last 5 minutes of the movie. Not even, you know what I mean? Like, it's not even, I don't need it to be connected to that franchise, but I understand why it is. My other question for you, Mike, is I already know the answer is, yeah, sure. Of course it's going to be, but I'm asking you, do we really need to see another Alien film? Have we seen what all we've seen? Are there stories that have not, and be honest, are there stories that need to be told anymore in this franchise?
So there's the gimmicky answer and there's the serious answer. I think the gimmicky answer is absolutely. There's alien on, like I told you, they go to Yavago, right? Yavago?
Vaga with an A.
Vaga. They go to Vaga and it's this picturesque world and the aliens are attacking it. We really haven't seen aliens other than, like I said, Requiem.
On continuation of this series of the
on a planet. Continuation on
this. To this. Yeah.
We continue with the black goo and we have the aliens at the same time. So purists can be happy and I would be happy. I don't want to see the xenomorph go away, but I am also cool with the black goo now making new monsters, a new kind of video game bosses, quote unquote, for our people to solve. I'm curious where, now that we really know what Weyland-Yutani has always been about, why they're so interested in the xenomorph. I always thought they wanted it as a weapon. I think it's interesting that they want to change humans. They want to live forever. Live forever, yeah. Like they have the same idea as Charles Weyland. I think that's fascinating story-wise. So I think you can, get some out of that. I think I always like the exploration of like living forever or immortal characters or, that quest going down a wrong turn. So I think that's a very interesting plot point. I also think you anthologize it again. I think obviously we need a little bit of Rain and Andy because they have the black goo that's going to continue our story along. But I think you can follow new characters with new issues, but you have to have characters that matter. You can't do another movie like this where you don't care. I need more Shaws. I need more Ripleys. I need more characters with backstories and motivation or Davids. I need people that I can care about or really truly root against and find fascinating. And I think you can tell kind of like messed up alien version, Black Mirror Outer Limit episodes with what you have in their playbook now.
Okay. All right. That's fair. It's a good point.
But you think it's dead.
I just don't know what else needs to be told to me. Like the whole stuff, like the Andy and Rain stuff that you're talking about would just remind me of Covenant and what David did to Shaw. And cause I think I still think there's the directive is still inside of Andy. I can see that's where it goes. Like Andy still has the directive of the Weyland-Yutani group inside him. So he infects Rain when they get there. I can see that's what's going to happen. That's what I'm saying. That's where I feel.
There's also the fact that you've got Kay on that ship and she was being sucked or eaten. You really couldn't see it. So is Kay dead or is she in the pod?
She did inject herself with the black goo, which
exactly. So you can bring this up.
I wanted to bring this up earlier, and whatever. I'll just bring it up now. You can cut it if it's too long.
That's fine.
There's not a lot.
This is a culmination of 8 episodes. This is a culmination of 2 months of our lives. So
there's not a lot of times in the franchise where there's characters that do something that is stupid, that's just dumb. And it feels like it's dumb for the sake of just plot device almost. We talk about in Covenant where we don't like the Crudup character because
a lot of that, yeah.
I know, because he makes so many stupid decisions. And but in this one, when she injects herself with the goo, it's there's no reason why she should do that except it's such a stupid move to do. You're going to assume something's going on, something's wrong with you. And you're going to put something into you that makes no sense. That's going to work. I
agree with that because she wasn't in the room where it was explained to her.
Right.
And, what's his face? Not Lance. What's pretty boy's name? Tyler barely has a chance before he's stabbed to really explain what that stuff is.
Yeah.
But on the other hand, if you gave me a scene where she's really slowing down and I get her heartbeat and it's boom, boom, and I know, oh, wow, she's really, really, really on death's door. Not just that, man, that door's pretty high.
Right.
I think I would buy that a little bit more, but she would need to be on death's door.
It would make more sense if she saw the video of the mouse being put back together. And then that's what, that would make more sense, but she has no idea that. So it just, her doing that just felt like such a stupid move that I was so Like, I was like, come on. Like, so it felt just like, oh no, we gotta get the offspring out here. So let's do that. We, and as soon as we knew that she was pregnant, we both knew what was going to happen. Like later on in the film. So we're just like, oh, here it comes.
I think that ties into the whole aliens thing. Not to keep dragging this episode out, but if you revealed the aliens a little earlier, the alien twist, they find Kay, they bring her with her, and she's in that room part. She's in that room. Like, why can't they have found her and dragged her a little earlier? It wouldn't have affected the length or any of the plot points at all. It's just her having been there would have explained that a little bit better. Right.
Agreed. All right. So I think that's it. We are done. We are done with aliens for a while. Goodness. The lead up was fun. If you want to go back and listen to us talk about that, like I said, it's on our Patreon, patreon.com/Forgotten Cinema. Yeah, I don't know. Do you have anything to add, Mike?
Thank you for watching the episode, or alien wise.
Anyway,
it's been a trip. I still think it's fascinating. This is another movie in the plus category for aliens, but I'm shocked. I'm a huge fan of aliens, so I'm saying this with love. A lot of the alien movies are not as good as the alien
of other franchises.
The popularity of aliens lives on based on 2 or 3 good movies.
Well, you have 2 movies right off the bat that are fantastic. Yeah. A's and A pluses are both A's, A1A and A1, 1A or 1B. They're phenomenal. And those 2 films have carried this franchise for the next 7 movies.
40 something years.
Yeah. Because they were so popular.
Movies.
And Prometheus was a good injection, nice re-injection of the franchise.
Oh yeah, I love Prometheus, but
Ridley Scott coming back, so that kind of extended the lifespan. But I think we're getting to the point now where it's like, okay, we need another Prometheus level, aliens level type film to kind of reinvigorate everything. I don't think this movie's it.
I think this movie is a start, but you've really got to hit it home with the next movie. You can't have another Alien 3 following this movie, or you're done.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
But yeah, other than that, I would just say thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. Please rate, subscribe. All that good stuff helps our podcast grow. We'll see you next time. For now, showing we're going to do Beetlejuice in a few weeks, depending on when you're watching this. We will have a lead up episode for Beetlejuice as well, leading up to that. I think our next lead up after that's in November for Gladiator. So check all that out on the Patreon. You could support us by joining the Patreon tiers, or join our Discord for free by just joining the Patreon, the free tier, where you could talk to us about movies. If you're interested in any of the Alien movies by individual episode, they are available on the Patreon shop, so you don't necessarily have to get a monthly subscription, and check those out. But yeah, rate, subscribe, all that stuff helps.
I was going to say, and hey, if you don't mind listening to us talk, and you don't mind our takes, we've got 240 plus episodes of the podcast that are available on Spotify and Apple and wherever you get podcasts. So just find us, Forgotten Cinema. We're the one with the neon logo. Mike Field, Mike Butler. Every Wednesday we got a new episode that are out, I think. So check us out. We pretty much we go a little bit more in depth with those episodes. We kind of talk about who wrote it and directed. The now showings are more about our reaction to the movie. The episodes are more about, what went into making the film, what we liked about it. Just kind of we talk about our viewing notes, but it's more about the production of the movie and just the people involved. So check us out, Forgotten Cinema. Until then, I am Mike Field.
I'm Mike Butler.
And we are the last surviving members of I don't even know the name of this ship. The Cerbolian. What is the name of the ship?
Cerbolian.
Is it? The Corbellin. The Corbellin. We are on the Corbellin going to Yavaga. We'll see you there.